Have you ever wondered if the universe you perceive every single day, the reality you navigate with such absolute certainty, is just a gentle illusion crafted by your own consciousness? We move through our daily lives feeling grounded, feeling entirely central to the story of existence. Yet, we are suspended in an infinite, ancient quiet that we can barely begin to comprehend. We look up at the night sky and see a static canvas, a comforting dome of twinkling lights that feels almost like a protective ceiling. But what if this perception is merely a coping mechanism, a way for our fragile minds to process a vastness so profound that it would otherwise shatter our understanding of reality? We are creatures of a small, rocky world, bound by the familiar, repeating rhythms of day and night. Yet we are adrift in a cosmic ocean whose true scale defies the very limits of human imagination. As we embark on this quiet journey together, peeling back the layers of this beautiful mystery, I want to invite you to let go of your everyday earthly concerns. Allow the profound silence of the cosmos to wash over you, and let us gently explore the contradictions between our everyday human experience and the staggering, ancient reality of the universe. Before we dive deeper into the dark, tranquil expanse of space, I want to take a brief moment to gently introduce myself. I am Theodore, the researcher, your companion on this meditative voyage through the deep mysteries of space and time. I have noticed that 71% of the wonderful people who watch these explorations have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you find peace, intellectual safety, and wonder in these cosmic journeys, I warmly invite you to subscribe. It helps us immensely and ensures that we can continue to explore these infinite wonders together, building a quiet community of curious cosmic explorers. Now, take a deep, calming breath, relax your mind, and let us return to the quiet darkness of the magnificent cosmos. Our home, the Milky Way, presents itself to us as a familiar, comforting neighborhood, a structure that scientists describe as a barred spiral galaxy. It is filled with beautiful, curving arms composed of ancient stars, gas, and dust, all swirling majestically around a central bulge where an enormous, silent black hole sits waiting in the dark. From our limited human perspective, it feels like the entire universe. But let us slowly adjust our cosmic lens and truly look at the scale. From one edge to the other, our magnificent galaxy measures roughly 100,000 light years across. Try to hold that thought in your mind for a quiet moment. If you could somehow manage to travel at the speed of light, which represents the absolute fastest velocity anything can move in our known universe, it would still take you 100,000 years just to cross from one side of our galactic home to the other. That length of time is almost impossible to truly grasp. It is an ancient span that is far longer than modern humans have even existed on this planet. It is a duration longer than the time since we first learned to paint our dreams and fears on the walls of primordial caves, longer than every single civilization that has ever risen, flourished, and fallen on our earth combined. And yet, in the grand, silent tapestry of the cosmos, that unfathomable distance is merely the width of our own little, insignificant corner. Within this beautiful, swirling structure, the Milky Way is home to somewhere between 200 billion and 400 billion individual stars. Each of those distant, glowing points of light might hold strange planets orbiting in the quiet dark, with unknown moons circling those planets, ancient asteroids tumbling endlessly through the frozen space, and icy comets streaking through the absolute void. Our sun is just one single, solitary star among those hundreds of billions, sitting peacefully about 26,000 light-years from the galactic center in a quiet, unassuming stellar neighborhood that we call the Orion Arm. Our Sun, along with its precious family of planets, orbits the center of this massive galaxy at a staggering speed of about 500,000 miles per hour. Even at that tremendous, mind-bending velocity, it takes our solar system about 250 million years to complete just one single lap around the galactic center. Astronomers sometimes refer to this immense, sweeping period as a cosmic year, or a galactic year. Think about the sheer scale of that time and how it humbles our earthly history. In the entire time that massive dinosaurs roamed the surface of the Earth, asserting their dominance over our world, our solar system did not even complete one full orbit around the galaxy. The last time our Sun was situated in roughly this exact same position in the swirling galaxy, the most complex life forms on our entire planet were merely simple marine organisms drifting in primordial oceans. This gentle realization shatters the illusion of our central importance, revealing just how vast and ancient even our own galaxy truly is. The space existing between the stars in the Milky Way is almost unimaginably empty, a profound, heavy silence that stretches out forever into the dark. Our nearest stellar neighbor, a small, unassuming red dwarf star known as Proxima Centauri, sits about 4.24 light-years away. That distance is so incomprehensibly great that if you were to shrink our mighty Sun down to the tiny size of a grain of sand, Proxima Centauri would be just another minuscule grain of sand sitting approximately 4 miles away. The vast stretching space in between those two tiny grains would be essentially a complete and utter void, containing just the faintest whiff of ancient gas and dust, accompanied by the occasional fleeting particle of cosmic radiation. This profound emptiness is incredibly hard for our earthbound minds to wrap around. We live our daily lives on a crowded, bustling planet surrounded by billions of other people, constantly sharing our limited space with countless other living things. We are completely accustomed to density, to things being close together, to the comforting illusion that the world is entirely full. But the moment you step outside the fragile bubble of our solar system, absolute emptiness becomes the governing rule of reality. Stars are separated by such vast, incomprehensible gulfs of nothingness that the chance of any two of them colliding by pure accident is essentially zero. Entire galaxies, massive as they are, can pass right through each other without any of their individual stars actually hitting one another. Yet somehow, in a beautiful, poetic paradox, even within all that infinite emptiness, there is enough material out there to form hundreds of billions of stars in our galaxy alone. The gentle gas and dust scattered between the stars may be incredibly sparse, but when it is spread across thousands of light years, it accumulates into enormous, unimaginable amounts of raw material waiting to be born. This quiet universe is not dead. It is a sprawling canvas of slow, ancient creation. New stars are forming right at this very moment inside giant molecular clouds that are scattered throughout the Milky Way. These are sacred cosmic nurseries, quiet places where the gentle but persistent force of gravity has pulled enough gas together for the brilliant fire of nuclear fusion to finally ignite. In the dark, our galaxy is alive with this continuous silent stellar birth, even as the older, ancient stars slowly burn out and die, returning their matter to the infinite void. When you walk outside and look up at the night sky from a dark, quiet location, away from the glaring lights of our busy cities, you might notice a hazy band of light stretching magnificently overhead. This beautiful, glowing arc is actually the combined ancient light of billions upon billions of distant stars residing within our own galaxy. Ancient people, looking up in wonder and reverence, thought it looked exactly like spilled milk splashed across the dark canvas of the heavens, which is precisely where the lovely name Milky Way originated. For the vast majority of human history, locked in the illusion of our own central significance, we simply assumed that this glowing band was absolutely everything that existed. We honestly thought our beloved galaxy was the entire universe. Different cultures around our beautiful world crafted different, profound explanations for that celestial band of light. The ancient Greeks told grand mythical stories of milk spilled from the goddess Hera's breast, forever staining the night. The Romans looked up at the exact same sky and called it the Via Lacta, translating to the Milky Road. In India, it was deeply revered as the sacred path that souls take on their final, peaceful journey to the afterlife. Aboriginal Australians, deeply connected to the land and the sky above, saw it as a massive, glowing river flowing through the heavens. People throughout all of recorded history have looked up at that exact same band of light, their hearts filled with wonder, and asked the same fundamental human questions about what it might truly be. This collective wondering is the very essence of our consciousness, trying to reach out and touch the infinite. It was not until the first optical telescopes were finally turned toward the Milky Way in the 17th century that human observers began to realize that the soft, milky glow actually resolved into countless individual stars. These ancient stars were far too faint and far too numerous to ever see with the naked eye, but they suddenly became visible through the simple magnifying power of curved glass lenses. This monumental realization was the very first gentle hint that our galaxy was far larger and contained far more stars than anyone had ever dared to imagine. But the comforting illusion of a small, contained universe was about to be shattered completely. It was not until the 1920s that an astronomer named Edwin Hubble fundamentally shifted our understanding of reality, proving that those fuzzy, indistinct smudges people had been observing through their telescopes were actually entire galaxies themselves. Each one of these distant, hazy smudges contained billions of their own stars, and each one was situated impossibly far away from our own planetary home. That single profound discovery changed absolutely everything we thought we knew about our place in the grand cosmos. The universe was not just a single collection of stars. It was an infinite ocean of island universes. Hubble made this paradigm-shifting discovery at the Mount Wilson Observatory located in California, utilizing what was, at that specific time, the absolute largest telescope in the entire world, a magnificent reflector with a massive mirror 100 inches across. He was patiently observing a specific class of stars known as Cepheid variables in what astronomers then called the Andromeda Nebula. These fascinating stars pulse in their brightness with a highly regular beating period. By carefully measuring their apparent brightness against their rhythmic pulsation rate, Hubble was able to mathematically calculate exactly how far away they were resting in the void. The profound result of his careful calculations was nothing short of shocking, permanently altering human consciousness and expanding our minds forever. The Andromeda Nebula was not merely a small cloud of gas floating safely within our own galaxy, as many prominent astronomers had previously assumed. It was located roughly 1 million light-years away, sitting far beyond the outermost edges of the Milky Way. It was an entirely separate, majestic galaxy, an independent island universe of stars in its own right. Our beloved galaxy was not the whole cosmos. It was merely one single galaxy drifting quietly among a vast multitude of many. We now know, with the benefit of precise modern science, that Hubble's original distance estimate was actually off by about a factor of 2. The Andromeda galaxy is actually located about 2 million light-years away from us. Not just 1 million. But his basic, revolutionary conclusion was entirely correct. The universe was vastly, incomprehensibly larger than anyone had ever imagined, filled to the absolute brim with countless other galaxies, each one containing its own billions of stars. Today, standing on the shoulders of giants and peering deep into the silence of space, we estimate that there are around 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. 2 trillion. That is a 2 followed by 12 zeros, a number so vast it becomes a pure abstraction, a gentle hum in the back of the contemplative mind. Each of those 2 trillion galaxies contains billions, or sometimes even trillions, of individual stars. When you try to hold these immense numbers in your mind, they become so unimaginably large that they simply stop having any real, tangible meaning to our limited human brains. But here is what makes this contemplative journey so incredibly fascinating, and where the true, deep mystery begins to unfold for us as explorers. Not all of these countless galaxies scattered across the void are created equal. Some of them are tiny, quiet dwarf galaxies containing just a few billion stars, whispering softly in the dark. Others are massive, swirling spirals much like our own Milky Way, or our nearest large neighbor, the beautiful Andromeda galaxy. And then, sitting quietly at the very extreme edge of the cosmic scale, hidden deep within the dark, ancient folds of the universe, there are the true monsters of the cosmos. There are galaxies out there that are so unbelievably enormous that they make our massive Milky Way look like absolutely nothing more than a tiny, insignificant speck of dust floating aimlessly in a vast, empty warehouse. These silent giants wait in the deep dark, challenging everything we believe about the limits of scale, gravity, and the flow of ancient time. As we gently continue this shared journey together, we will slowly approach one of these majestic titans, a structure so vast it will force us to question the very nature of physical reality and the delicate, comforting illusion of our own earthly significance. As we drift further into this infinite, quiet ocean of the cosmos, we begin to realize that the universe is not merely a random scattering of chaotic matter, but rather a profoundly organized, delicate tapestry of ancient light. Galaxies, those magnificent island universes floating in the deep silence, come in many different, beautiful shapes and sizes. The most common type that we observe in our nearby universe are the spiral galaxies, much like our own comforting home, the Milky Way. These structures present themselves with distinctive, sweeping pinwheel arms and flat, gently rotating disks. When we look at them, we are witnessing cosmic nurseries, as these spiral galaxies are typically the vibrant sites of active, ongoing star formation. Within their gas-rich spiral arms, entirely new stars are continuously being born into the dark. The breathtakingly beautiful structure that we see from our earthly vantage point is delicately maintained by a profound, silent balance between the dynamic rotational motion of the spinning disk and the relentless inward gravitational pull of all the matter contained within it. It is a cosmic dance of physics, a perfect, quiet equilibrium that allows for the creation of new worlds and perhaps new forms of consciousness wondering about their own existence in the vast mystery. But the universe is a place of profound diversity, and not all galaxies share this dynamic, swirling youthfulness. There is another major silent category known as elliptical galaxies. Unlike the graceful spiraling arms of galaxies like our own, these massive structures possess no particular intricate structure at all. They range in their appearance from nearly perfect glowing spheres to highly elongated, stretched oval shapes resting quietly in the void. What makes them truly poetic is their ancient nature. They are populated almost entirely by old red stars that have been burning slowly for billions of years. The vibrant, energetic star formation that characterizes spiral galaxies has largely ceased within these elliptical giants, as they have long ago completely exhausted most of their available gas supply. They are the elders of the universe, quiet and contemplative, shining with a dim red wisdom. Interestingly, the absolute largest galaxies that exist in the entire known universe are almost all elliptical in their shape, having been slowly, patiently formed through the violent but silent merger of multiple smaller galaxies over the span of billions of years. They are monuments to the passage of deep time, carrying the ancient histories of countless consumed worlds within their glowing, featureless bodies. Beyond the organized spirals and the ancient ellipticals, there exists a third, chaotic category known as irregular galaxies, which possess no clearly defined, recognizable shape whatsoever. These beautifully chaotic forms are very often the direct result of intense gravitational interactions with other nearby galaxies in the dark. The invisible, stretching fingers of gravity from passing neighbors have gently but firmly pulled and distorted their delicate structures over millions of years. A beautiful example of this cosmic interaction can be seen from the southern hemisphere of our own planet, where the Magellanic Clouds hang in the night sky. These are irregular galaxies that are currently being stretched, affected, and fundamentally reshaped by the immense gravitational pull of our own Milky Way galaxy. It is a gentle reminder that nothing in this vast cosmos exists in true, absolute isolation. Even across the unimaginably empty, silent gulfs of intergalactic space, enormous bodies of stars are constantly reaching out, touching, and influencing one another in an endless, slow-motion dance that spans eons. Does it not make you wonder about the invisible, gravitational pulls in our own tiny human lives, the subtle forces that shape our paths and connect us to the vast, unfolding story of existence? As we pull our perspective even further back, widening our cosmic lens to take in the grandest architecture of reality, we discover that these magnificent galaxies are not simply distributed randomly through the endless space. They are fundamentally organized into even larger, more complex structures that boggle the mind. On a relatively small scale, we find galaxy groups, which contain anywhere from a handful to a few dozen individual galaxies bound closely together. Our own beloved Milky Way galaxy proudly belongs to a specific community called the local group. This gentle cosmic neighborhood contains about 80 known galaxies in total, including our massive neighbor Andromeda, as well as several dozen much smaller, quieter dwarf galaxies. They travel together through the immense, dark universe like a quiet, ancient family of light, held close by the unseen bonds of their mutual gravity. But the mystery of scale does not stop there, my fellow cosmic explorer. If we zoom out even further into the deep dark, we encounter galaxy clusters, which are significantly larger structures still. These magnificent cosmic cities contain hundreds to thousands of individual galaxies, all locked together and bound intimately by the unrelenting force of gravity. And beyond even these massive clusters lie the true titans of cosmic architecture, the absolute largest structures of all, the superclusters. These are vast, incomprehensible assemblages of numerous galaxy clusters stretching unimaginably across hundreds of millions of light-years of empty space. These superclusters form the glowing, web-like filaments of the universe itself, the grandest scaffolding of creation. It is within this mind-expanding hierarchy of cosmic scale that we find the specific, awe-inspiring destination of our current journey. The galaxy I want to softly guide you toward today is one of those true, undisputed monsters of the deep void. It is known to humanity by a somewhat boring, unassuming name, IC1101. This incredibly dull designation simply comes from its numerical entry in a catalog of celestial objects that was created by diligent astronomers over a century ago. But please, I gently urge you, do not let that incredibly dull name fool your imagination for even a single second. There is absolutely nothing boring, small, or mundane about this ancient cosmic giant. It is a structure of such staggering proportions that it challenges our very understanding of what the universe is capable of building in the dark. IC1101 sits quietly, majestically, at the exact center of a massive cluster of galaxies officially known to science as Abel 2029. This massive, swirling cluster is located far away in the direction of the constellation Virgo, as seen from our tiny vantage point here on Earth. When astronomers point their most powerful telescopes toward this specific quiet region of the night sky, they do not just see empty space. They see a truly massive collection of galaxies. All of these distant island universes are tightly bound together by their immense gravity, gracefully dancing around a shared common center in the silence of space. And right there, resting silently in the very beating heart of that immense cluster, dominating absolutely everything around it, much like a cosmic emperor sitting peacefully on an ancient throne, sits the majestic giant, IC1101. The sheer, terrifying, beautiful scale of this particular galaxy is something that we must approach with profound humility. Astronomers have painstakingly estimated that this single, solitary galaxy is somewhere around 4 to 6 million light-years across from one edge to the other. I want you to simply stop and let that unimaginable number sink deeply into your consciousness for a moment. Think back to our own home, our sweeping Milky Way, which already seemed impossibly large when we first began our journey. The Milky Way is only about 100,000 light-years wide. This means that the silent giant, IC1101, is roughly 40 to 60 times larger than our entire, beautiful home galaxy. If you possess the godlike ability to pluck ICOS 1101 from the distant void and carefully place it exactly where our Milky Way currently sits in space, the results would be catastrophic and magnificent. It would not simply engulf our own galaxy. Its sheer, unimaginable bulk would completely swallow our entire cosmic neighborhood. The great Andromeda galaxy, which sits about 2.5 million light-years away from us across the dark intergalactic ocean, would suddenly find itself entirely trapped inside the massive, glowing body of IC1101. The Triangulum galaxy, another close neighbor of ours in the local group, would also be instantly consumed by the encroaching blanket of ancient stars. Absolutely all of the dozens of smaller, quiet dwarf galaxies that currently orbit around us, familiar places like the Large Magellanic Cloud and the Small Magellanic Cloud, would simply cease to exist as independent structures. They would instantly become tiny, insignificant components lost deep within this one giant's impossibly vast, ancient structure. The realization of this scale gently shatters the fragile mirror of our human ego, forcing us to confront a universe where our entire neighborhood is but a tiny drop in an endless, glowing ocean of profound mystery. But the staggering physical size of this ancient giant is just the very gentle beginning of what makes IC 1101 so incredibly awe-inspiring to our curious minds. Beyond its sheer volume, we must try to contemplate its density, the sheer amount of matter that has gathered in this one quiet point in the vast cosmos. This majestic galaxy is estimated to contain around 100 trillion stars. Please, take a deep, slow breath and let the weight of that number wash over you. 100 trillion. Our own home, the Milky Way, has maybe 400 billion stars at most. That astronomical calculation means that IC 1101 possesses roughly 250 times more stars than our entire sweeping home galaxy. If you embarked on a journey to simply count the stars in IC 1101, dedicating yourself to counting exactly 1 star per second without ever stopping, it would take you over 3 million years just to count to 100 trillion. And that is assuming a scenario where you never slept, never ate, and never took a break of any kind. 3 million years of relentless counting just to acknowledge every single burning sun within this one isolated island in the universe. It is a mathematical reality that forces a deep, peaceful humility upon us, a quiet surrender to the infinite scale of the mystery that surrounds us. The story of how human consciousness first brushed against this cosmic giant, how we gently reached out into the dark to find it, begins back in the year 1790. During this era, a German-born British astronomer named William Herschel was systematically, patiently scanning the deep night sky with his telescope. Herschel was widely considered one of the absolute greatest astronomers of his era. He had already made history by discovering the planet Uranus several years earlier, and he dedicated much of his quiet life to cataloging thousands of celestial objects that no human being had ever documented before. On June 19th of that specific year, Herschel pointed his telescope toward a dark region of the sky in the constellation Virgo and noticed a very faint, fuzzy blob of ancient light. He carefully, methodically recorded its position in his notes and peacefully moved on to the next object in the dark. At the time of this discovery, Herschel had absolutely no way of knowing what he was actually looking at. The technology simply did not exist to measure how far away this mysterious object was. The scientific understanding of the era did not exist to recognize that it was an entirely separate galaxy, vastly separated from our own. Herschel simply logged it as another nebula, one of many mysterious cloud-like objects scattered across the infinite heavens. For over an entire century, that faint, ghostly smudge of light remained a profound mystery waiting in the silence. It was eventually given the specific designation IC 1101 when it was included in a catalog called the Index Catalog, which was an expansion of an earlier list of celestial objects. Astronomers studied it when they could, but without the proper tools to understand its true, magnificent nature, it remained just another silent entry in an incredibly long list of cosmic curiosities. Everything changed fundamentally in the 20th century when astronomers finally developed better, more powerful telescopes and entirely new techniques for measuring cosmic distances. They discovered the staggering truth that IC 1101 was not a small cloud of gas floating within our own galaxy. It was an entirely separate, massive galaxy, sitting mind-bogglingly far away in the ancient dark. To truly feel the scale of this distance, we must think about the speed of light. The very light we see from IC 1101 today left that ancient galaxy over 1 billion years ago. It has been traveling silently, relentlessly, through the absolute void of space for more than 1 billion years, just to eventually reach our delicate telescopes. When that ancient light first began its long, quiet journey toward us across the universe, life on our own Earth was still mostly composed of simple, single-celled organisms drifting in primordial waters. Complex animals had not yet even evolved on our world. The magnificent dinosaurs would not appear on the Earth for another several 100 million years. Every single major event in human history, from the rise of the very first civilizations to the invention of the telescope itself, happened while that ancient, tired light was still quietly crossing the immense emptiness between galaxies. As you look at the images of this galaxy today, you are not seeing it as it is. You're looking deep into the ancient past, witnessing a ghost composed of 100 trillion suns. Does it not bring a sense of profound, peaceful wonder to realize that the cosmos allows us to look backward in time simply by looking upward into the night? As astronomers continued to patiently study IC 1101, they began to slowly understand exactly why it was so incredibly, incomprehensibly massive. This majestic galaxy did not simply grow to its enormous size through normal, gentle processes alone. It became a silent giant through a continuous act of cosmic violence that has been happening quietly for billions of years. IC 1101 is what scientists call a cannibal galaxy. It has literally been eating other galaxies in the dark. To truly understand this galactic cannibalism, you need to deeply think about how the invisible force of gravity works on the absolute largest scales of reality. Galaxies, as we have gently discussed, do not exist in absolute isolation. They are grouped together in massive clusters held together by their mutual gravitational attraction. Within these vast, silent clusters, galaxies move around each other in an ancient dance, sometimes passing very close by, sometimes colliding directly into one another. When two massive galaxies get close to each other, their immense gravity begins to pull and distort their delicate shapes. Stars get pulled far out of their normal, peaceful orbits. Ancient gas and dust get compressed and stretched across the void. If the two interacting galaxies are somewhat similar in size, they might eventually merge together over the course of hundreds of millions of years, slowly forming a single, much larger galaxy in the silence. But if one galaxy is much, much bigger than the other, something entirely different and profoundly humbling happens. The larger dominant galaxy simply absorbs the smaller one entirely, gently stripping away its billions of stars and its gas, adding all of that ancient material to its own massive body. This is exactly what has been happening to IC 1101 for billions of years. As the absolute largest and most massive galaxy in its entire cluster, IC 1101 sits quietly at the gravitational center of absolutely everything around it. Smaller, wandering galaxies that venture too close simply get trapped by its enormous, unrelenting gravity. They slowly spiral inward through the dark, getting torn apart and utterly consumed over the span of millions of years. Each cosmic meal makes IC 1101 a little bit bigger, a little bit more massive, a little bit more dominant in the quiet void. Scientists meticulously estimate that IC 1101 has undergone at least 76 major mergers over its long ancient history. 76 separate times. Another substantial, magnificent galaxy fell into this cosmic giant and was quietly absorbed into its expanding body. And those are just the major, significant mergers. Countless smaller dwarf galaxies have also been consumed over the eons. galaxies so unimaginably small that they barely even registered as a meal for this enormous cosmic predator. The silent, profound evidence for this cannibalistic history is written directly into IC 1101's very structure. When you look at a galaxy like our beautiful Milky Way, you see a magnificent spiral pattern. Those curving spiral arms are vibrant regions where stars are actively forming, where vast clouds of gas are gently collapsing under gravity to create entirely new stellar nurseries. Spiral galaxies have lots of gas and dust, the essential raw materials needed for star formation, and they possess a distinct rotating disk shape. IC 1101 looks absolutely nothing like this familiar shape. It is what astronomers call an elliptical galaxy, which means it has a very smooth, oval-shaped appearance, with absolutely no spiral arms at all. Elliptical galaxies typically form when spiral galaxies violently merge together. The intense gravitational interactions during a massive merger completely destroy the delicate, beautiful spiral structure, mixing all the billions of stars together into a much more random, spherical or oval distribution. The profound fact that IC 1101 is an elliptical galaxy tells us quite clearly that it has experienced so many mergers that any original spiral structure it might have once possessed has been completely and utterly erased. All of those silent collisions, all of that immense gravitational chaos has stirred up the stars like someone mixing ingredients in a massive cosmic bowl. What remains today is this incredibly smooth, featureless giant, a quiet testament to billions of years of galactic consumption. The peaceful, meditative realization that such a massive structure exists out there in the dark, composed of the remains of dozens of other entire galaxies, invites a profound sense of inner peace. Why should we feel peace in the face of such overwhelming scale? Because it gently reminds us that the universe is not entirely chaotic, but rather governed by deep, ancient laws of physics that operate steadily over unimaginable eons. The gravity that slowly pulled those 76 galaxies together is the exact same gravity that gently keeps our feet firmly planted on the earth. We are not separate from these cosmic processes. We are an integral, conscious part of them. When we look at IC 1101, we are the universe observing its own magnificent, terrifying beauty. It stands as a monument to the endless cycle of destruction and creation that defines our infinite universe, a gentle reminder that even the most massive objects are in a constant state of transformation. As we prepare to delve deeper into the heart of this ancient giant, we must let go of our earthly assumptions and embrace the profound, beautiful mystery of a cosmos that operates on scales far beyond our mortal comprehension. Let the silence of those 100 trillion stars comfort you as we continue this infinite journey of discovery. But there is something even more profoundly remarkable, something almost tragically beautiful about the quiet giant known as IC 1101. Despite containing 100 trillion stars, it is actually a dying galaxy. The stars within it are almost all unimaginably old. Most of them are what gentle astronomers call red giants, or yellow stars, ancient stellar objects that have already patiently burned through most of their primordial fuel. Very few new stars are currently being born inside the vast expanse of IC 1101. This might seem strange at first, a counterintuitive paradox in the dark. With so many stars and so much immense mass, you might naturally expect this galaxy to be a hotbed of vibrant stellar activity. But we must remember exactly how it grew so incredibly large in the silence. Every single time it consumed another wandering galaxy, It also consumed that galaxy's precious gas supply. Gas is the fundamental fuel for all star formation in the cosmos. Without this gentle gas, new stars absolutely cannot be born into the night. Over billions of years of relentless galactic cannibalism, IC 1101 has completely used up or violently expelled most of its available gas. The massive mergers themselves were often violent enough to heat the delicate gas to extreme temperatures, making it expand and gracefully escape the galaxy entirely, or alternatively, to compress it so quickly that it all formed into new stars at once, in brief, intense bursts of ancient activity. Either way, the final result is a majestic galaxy that has entirely run out of raw material. What remains now is a quiet giant, slowly, peacefully fading into the cosmic night. The stars that currently exist will gracefully continue to shine for billions of years to come. But as they eventually, inevitably burn out and die, there will be no new generations to replace them in the dark. IC 1101 is like an ancient mythical kingdom that has successfully conquered all of its surrounding neighbors, but has absolutely no children left to carry on its grand legacy. It is massive, it is powerful, and it is utterly magnificent. But it is also quietly approaching the inevitable end of its active life. At the very beating heart of IC 1101 lies something even more incredible, even more humbling than the dying galaxy itself. Sitting in silent judgment at the exact center of this cosmic giant is one of the absolute largest known supermassive black holes in the entire universe. Almost every large galaxy holds a supermassive black hole at its core. Our own comforting Milky Way has one affectionately called Sagittarius, a star, which contains about 4 million times the mass of our humble sun. The silent black hole sitting at the center of the Andromeda galaxy is even bigger, containing somewhere around 100 million to 200 million solar masses. But the terrifying, beautiful black hole waiting at the center of IC 1101 exists in a completely different category of reality. Scientists patiently estimate that it contains somewhere between 40 billion and 100 billion times the mass of our sun. To gently put that mind-bending number in perspective, this single, solitary black hole might possess 25,000 times more mass than the black hole located at the center of our entire Milky Way galaxy. Let me help you gently understand just how massive this truly is. If you could somehow manage to weigh the Earth, you would find it has a mass of about 6 trillion kilograms. That sounds like an immense amount until you carefully compare it to the Sun, which is about 330,000 times more massive than our entire Earth. Our Sun is a fairly ordinary star, neither particularly large nor particularly small by typical stellar standards. Now, multiply the Sun's mass by 50 billion. That is roughly how much ancient mass is densely packed into the supermassive black hole resting at IC 1101's center. All of that unbelievable mass is compressed into a single region of space from which absolutely nothing can ever escape. The gravitational pull at the event horizon, which is the theoretical boundary of the silent black hole, is so intense that even light itself, the fastest traveler in the cosmos, cannot break free. The physical size of a black hole's event horizon depends entirely on its total mass. For a supermassive black hole composed of 50 billion solar masses, the event horizon would possess a radius of roughly 150 billion kilometers. The silent event horizon is just the invisible boundary beyond which escape becomes impossible. To gently put this incomprehensible size in perspective, our entire solar system, stretching from the Sun all the way to the distant orbit of Neptune, is about 9 billion kilometers across. The event horizon of this central black hole is roughly 16 times larger than our entire solar system. If you were to place this monstrous black hole exactly where our sun currently resides, its event horizon would extend well beyond the orbit of Pluto, effortlessly engulfing absolutely everything we consider to be our cosmic home. What would it truly be like to exist near this monstrous, ancient black hole? The fundamental physics of such extreme, silent environments is bizarre and deeply counterintuitive to our earthly minds. Time itself would pass differently near the event horizon compared to observers stationed far away in the safety of the void. Someone gently falling toward the black hole would see the outside universe vastly speed up, while an outside observer would watch the falling person slowly slow down and appear to freeze perfectly in time as they approached the invisible horizon. From the outside perspective, they would never seem to actually cross the dark boundary. Inside the event horizon, all possible directions lead inevitably toward the singularity at the center. Space and time themselves become so fundamentally warped that the very concept of escaping becomes entirely meaningless. The silent singularity, a microscopic point of theoretically infinite density, would ruthlessly tear apart absolutely anything that fell in, stretching it into long, incredibly thin strands through a strange process physicists have nicknamed spaghettification. But here is something profoundly remarkable and deeply poetic. Despite its enormous physical size and truly terrifying properties, the supermassive black hole at IIC 1101 Center is currently relatively quiet. It is not actively devouring huge amounts of wandering matter. There is no brilliant, glowing accretion disk furiously swirling around it. There is no powerful, deadly jet shooting out into intergalactic space at nearly the speed of light. The ancient black hole is simply there, waiting patiently in the dark, but it has already consumed most of the available material that was easily within its immediate reach. This profound quietness is actually related directly to the exact same phenomenon that has permanently stopped EC 1101 from forming new stars. Most of the gas in the galaxy has already been completely used up, and without any new gas gently falling toward the center, the black hole has very little left to eat. Occasionally, a wandering star strays a bit too close and gets violently torn apart, providing a brief, silent meal in the dark. But these events are exceedingly rare. The supermassive black hole, very much like the dying giant galaxy that faithfully hosts it, is a creature in repose, incredibly powerful but entirely dormant. There are still faint, ghostly traces of the black hole's past activity echoing in the dark. Astronomers have successfully detected a bright radio source located at IC 1101 Center, which they have cataloged as PKS 508 plus 059. This ancient radio emission comes directly from relativistic jets, which are intense streams of particles accelerated to nearly the speed of light and violently ejected from the immediate vicinity of the black hole. These invisible jets are entirely powered by the black hole's rapid rotation and its immense magnetic fields, and they have the power to carve out enormous empty cavities in the surrounding gas. Stunning images gathered from X-ray telescopes show these vast cavities clearly. They are essentially enormous bubbles of very hot, very thin gas that have been blown outward by the sheer energy released near the dormant black hole. Some of these cosmic bubbles are millions of light years across, standing as a silent testimony to turbulent periods in the ancient past, when the central black hole was much more active than it is today. The chaotic process of multiple consecutive mergers also deeply affected the surrounding galaxy, as the merging black holes violently flung stars outward through intense gravitational interactions. This process is exactly why IC 1101 Central Core is so incredibly large, yet relatively faint. Repeated black hole mergers have systematically scattered ancient stars away from the very center of the galaxy, slowly creating a core profile that is highly unusual for galaxies of this colossal size. This gentle realization reminds us that even the darkest, most terrifying entities in the cosmos leave a profound structural legacy. As we contemplate this dying giant and the sleeping monster at its heart, we are invited to find peace in the natural life cycles of the universe. Everything, even the largest galaxies, experiences birth, chaotic growth, and eventually a long, quiet rest. Let us pause in the silence of this cosmic graveyard and prepare ourselves to explore the true, mind-bending scale of crossing such an ancient expanse. As we gently pull our perspective away from the sleeping, supermassive monster at the very heart of IC 1101, we must prepare ourselves to confront an even deeper, more profound mystery that permeates this entire cosmic structure. We have marveled at the 100 trillion burning stars, the ancient, glowing red and yellow suns that make up the visible body of this dying giant. But what if I told you that everything we have just observed, all that blinding, unimaginable mass and ancient light, represents only a tiny, almost insignificant fraction of what is actually there in the dark? To truly understand the breathtaking scale of this galaxy, we must gently venture into the realm of the invisible, into the quiet, unseen architecture that holds the universe together. This brings us to the profound mystery of dark matter, a concept so beautifully strange that it forces our minds to completely reimagine the fundamental nature of reality. When astronomers carefully observe how massive galaxies rotate and interact in the deep silence of space, they encounter a magnificent paradox. If you were to painstakingly add up the mass of all the visible stars, the swirling gas, and the ancient dust within a galaxy, and then calculate exactly how much gravitational pull that visible matter should exert, the mathematical result falls drastically short of reality. The stars orbiting in the outer quiet edges of these galaxies are moving at velocities far too fast to be held in place by the gravity of the visible matter alone. By all known laws of physics, these ancient stars should be violently flung out into the empty void, completely untethered from their homes. Yet, they remain perfectly bound in their cosmic dance. The only logical, scientifically rigorous explanation for this quiet paradox is that these galaxies are completely surrounded and permeated by vast, invisible halos of an unknown substance. We call this mysterious substance dark matter. It is a gentle but persistent force that does not emit, absorb, or reflect any form of ancient light. It is entirely invisible to our most powerful optical telescopes, our sensitive radio dishes, and our advanced X-ray observatories. We cannot see it, we cannot touch it, and we do not yet know exactly what fundamental particles it is made of. We only know with absolute, quiet certainty that it exists because we can clearly observe its profound gravitational influence on the visible universe. In a typical spiral galaxy, like our own comforting Milky Way, this invisible dark matter is estimated to account for roughly 90% of the total mass. The billions of stars and planets we can actually see are just the glowing foam on top of a deep, dark, invisible ocean. When we apply this humbling realization to a cosmic giant like IC 1101, the numbers become truly staggering, expanding our sense of wonder to absolute breaking points. Scientists estimate that the total mass of IIC 1101, when you carefully include its immense, invisible dark matter halo, could be as high as 1,100 trillion solar masses. Let that unimaginable number sit quietly in your mind for a moment. This means the dark matter halo extending around this giant stretches far, far beyond the 4 to 6 million light years of its visible, glowing stars. Some theoretical models gently suggest that this invisible architecture could reach out for tens of millions of light years into the absolute void, blending seamlessly with the surrounding Abell 2029 galaxy cluster. The visible galaxy, magnificent and monstrous as it is merely the glowing ancient heart of a much larger, completely invisible structure that dwarfs human comprehension. This realization brings a deep meditative peace. It reminds us that our human senses, as wonderful and evolved as they are only equipped to perceive a tiny fractional sliver of the true cosmos. As the great astronomer Carl Sagan so beautifully reflected, the universe is not bound by our need to easily understand it. It is vast, it is dark, and it is full of profound, silent mysteries waiting to be explored. We are standing on the very shore of an infinite cosmic ocean, and the invisible depths are calling to our deep, inherent curiosity. As we float quietly in this vast, invisible ocean of dark matter, let us also gently examine the space between the galaxies within the massive Abell 2029 cluster. Our human intuition, born from our experience on a dense, rocky planet, tells us that the space between these distant island universes must be a complete, perfect vacuum, an absolute emptiness. But the cosmos is infinitely more complex and beautiful than our simple assumptions. The immense space between the hundreds of galaxies in this cluster is actually filled with an incredibly hot, diffuse plasma known to science as the intracluster medium. This ancient gas is incredibly sparse. If you could somehow cup your hands and scoop up a cubic meter of this space, you would find only a few solitary atoms resting within it. However, because this medium is spread across millions of light years of deep space, it accumulates into an enormous, staggering amount of total mass, actually containing more normal matter than all the visible stars in all the galaxies of the cluster combined. Heated to tens of millions of degrees by the immense gravitational energy released as the cluster formed, this ancient gas emits high-energy X-rays into the silent void. In the normal, peaceful progression of the cosmos, extremely hot gas can slowly cool down over the eons, gently radiating away its intense energy as X-rays into the deep dark. When this gas cools sufficiently, it can slowly fall inward toward the center of the massive galaxy, providing a fresh, abundant supply of raw fuel that can ignite spectacular new bursts of star formation. Astronomers have observed these massive cooling flows in other distant galaxy clusters, watching as hundreds of solar masses worth of cool gas stream into central galaxies every single year, lighting them up with vibrant, blue, newborn stars. But here, in the quiet, ancient heart of Abell 2029, something profound is permanently preventing this cooling flow from ever reaching the dying giant. The beautiful, delicate balance of thermodynamics is being disrupted by a sleeping monster. The leading scientific theory points directly back to that supermassive black hole resting silently at the very center of IC 1101. When the hot intracluster gas begins to cool and slowly drift toward the central black hole, a tiny fraction of that material inevitably gets drawn too close to the invisible event horizon. As this ancient matter accelerates and violently compresses, it generates truly tremendous amounts of frictional energy. This incredible energy is then violently blasted back out into the surrounding cluster in the form of relativistic jets and massive, invisible shock waves. This powerful, silent process acts exactly like a cosmic thermostat. The immense energy released by the feeding black hole violently reheats the surrounding intracluster gas, forcefully pushing it outward and completely preventing it from ever cooling enough to form new stars. This delicate, beautiful feedback loop ensures that the giant galaxy remains permanently starved of the vital fuel it desperately needs to create new life. The giant is trapped in a permanent, quiet state of equilibrium, perfectly regulated by the invisible monster resting at its core. As we gently contemplate these invisible forces, the dark matter, the superheated X-ray gas, and the invisible jets carving out massive voids, we are invited to deeply reconsider our relationship with the unknown. For most of our human history, we believed that reality was strictly limited to what we could easily see with our own eyes. But this quiet journey into the deep cosmos reveals a profound, humbling truth. The vast majority of the universe is completely, utterly invisible to our biological senses. The true, ancient architecture of reality is hidden in the dark, detectable only through the gentle, persistent application of human curiosity, mathematics, and advanced scientific instruments. This realization does not need to evoke fear or a sense of insignificance. Instead, it can bring a deep, meditative peace. It reminds us that we are part of an infinite unfolding mystery, a cosmos that is infinitely richer, stranger, and more beautiful than our ancestors could have ever possibly dreamed. We are the conscious universe gently waking up, slowly learning to see the invisible, and quietly marveling at the terrifying beauty of its own ancient design. As we prepare to trace the deep cosmic history of this dying giant, let us rest in the profound silence of the unseen universe, knowing that the greatest mysteries are still waiting patiently in the dark to be discovered. As we continue this quiet journey, floating peacefully through the invisible, vast ocean of dark matter that anchors the cosmos, we are gently invited to confront another profound limitation of our human perception. We have explored the staggering illusion of physical scale, realizing that our comforting, solid reality is merely a tiny, fragile raft adrift on a boundless sea. But there is another, perhaps even more startling illusion that our consciousness weaves every single day, one that completely governs our understanding of existence. It is the deep, ancient mystery of time itself. When you step outside into the cool, silent night and turn your gaze upward to the glittering canvas of the heavens, your brain instantly tells you a comforting lie. Your consciousness, working tirelessly to build a coherent, safe world for you to inhabit, presents the night sky as a simultaneous, present reality. You feel as though you are looking at the universe exactly as it is right now, at this very moment. But in the infinite, quiet cosmos, the concept of a universal present is a pure, beautiful fabrication. The universe, you know, the glowing tapestry of stars you see, is not a real place existing in the present. It is a stitched-together collage of ancient ghosts, a grand illusion created by the physical limits of light and the narrative desire of your own mind. Before we delve into the mechanics of this ancient light, I want to gently remind you that I am Theodore, the researcher, your guide through this infinite dark. If you find peace in these explorations, please note that 71% of our quiet community has not yet subscribed. Subscribing helps us immensely to keep these meditative journeys alive. Now, let us return our focus to the void and truly understand this gentle illusion by meditating on the nature of light itself. Light is the absolute fastest messenger in the known universe, traveling through the absolute void of space at an astonishing, mind-bending speed of roughly 186,000 miles per second. On our small, crowded Earth, this speed is so incredibly fast that it feels instantaneous. When you turn on a lamp in a dark room, the light banishes the shadows before your brain can even begin to register the passage of time. This immediate feedback trains our consciousness to deeply believe that seeing is synonymous with the present moment. But when we cast our eyes outward into the vast, silent gulfs of space, this localized illusion gracefully shatters. The distances between the ancient stars and the spiraling galaxies are so unimaginably immense that even light, racing across the void at its absolute maximum velocity, takes staggering amounts of time to cross them. Therefore, every single time you look up, you are not looking into the present. You are literally looking deep into the past. Let us gently scale this concept, starting from our own quiet cosmic neighborhood, to ground our understanding. When you gaze up at the pale, silent moon hanging in the night sky, you are not seeing the moon as it is right now. You are seeing the moon exactly as it was about 1.3 seconds ago, because that is how long it took the sunlight reflecting off its cratered surface to cross the 238,000 miles of empty space to reach your delicate eyes. When you feel the warm, comforting rays of our own sun on your face during a quiet afternoon, you are experiencing ancient energy. You are feeling the sun as it was just over 8 minutes ago. If, by some unimaginable cosmic magic, the sun were to suddenly vanish from existence this very second, we would continue to orbit a ghost, entirely unaware of our impending doom in the dark, for 8 more blissful minutes. Our entire present reality is built upon delayed information. As we look further out, the illusion deepens profoundly. The bright, twinkling star Sirius appears to us as it was over 8.5 years ago. If you look at the beautiful Andromeda galaxy from a dark location, the faint light striking your retina left those distant stars over 2 million years ago. You are seeing a ghost from an era before modern humans even walked the earth. Now, let us return our thoughts to the majestic, dying giant we have been exploring, the colossal elliptical galaxy known as IC 1101, sitting quietly in the center of the Abell 2029 cluster. This cosmic monster is located over 1 billion light-years away from our tiny, rocky home. When astronomers meticulously study the ancient, red starlight emanating from its 100 trillion stars, they are capturing photons that began their silent, relentless journey across the void 1 billion years ago. Think about the profound, staggering weight of that temporal distance. 1 billion years ago, the continents of our Earth were arranged in completely unrecognizable shapes, and complex life had not yet begun to flourish in our primordial oceans. Yet, when we look through our telescopes tonight, we see IC 1101 glowing in the dark, and our consciousness places it in our present. Our minds take the moon from a second ago, the stars from centuries ago, and the galaxies from billions of years ago, and seamlessly stitches them all together into a single, unified painting of the sky. The universe you perceive is a gentle, beautiful illusion crafted by your consciousness, a temporal mosaic that does not exist in any single moment of cosmic time. It is a reality that exists nowhere else in the universe, except within the quiet, processing centers of your own mind. But the illusion of our cosmic reality goes even deeper, touching upon a mystery so profound that it continues to baffle the greatest scientific minds on our planet. For most of the 20th century, human astronomers reasonably assumed that the expansion of the universe, initiated by the ancient Big Bang, must be slowly decelerating over time. It made perfect, intuitive sense. The immense collective gravity of all the billions of galaxies, all the invisible dark matter, and all the wandering stars should act like a gentle cosmic brake, gradually pulling everything back together. But in the year 1998, observing distant dying stars, scientists made a discovery that completely shattered our understanding of the universe. The expansion of the void was not slowing down. It was violently, inexplicably accelerating. Distant galaxies were flying away from us faster and faster, driven by a deeply mysterious, repulsive force that permeates all of empty space. Scientists, lacking a true understanding of this invisible phenomenon, named it dark energy. It is an ancient, silent force that is estimated to make up roughly 68% of all the total energy and mass in the entire universe. It pushes against gravity, gently but firmly altering the ultimate fate of all existence in the dark. This dark energy acts as a kind of anti-gravity, stretching the very fabric of space itself at an ever-increasing rate. And this relentless, accelerating expansion creates the final, ultimate boundary to the illusion of our reality, the cosmic horizon. As the space between the galaxy clusters expands faster and faster, the distant objects resting in the deep void are carried away from us at speeds that eventually exceed the speed of light itself. It is not that these ancient galaxies are moving through space faster than light, which physics strictly forbids, but that the fabric of space between us is stretching faster than the light can cross it. When a distant galaxy crosses this invisible, terrifying threshold, its ancient light will never, ever be able to reach our telescopes again. It slips silently beyond the veil of our observable universe, vanishing forever into the absolute, unknowable dark. This means that the universe we can actually see, the magnificent, glowing reality that our consciousness can interact with and wonder about, is physically shrinking over deep cosmic time. Let us gently transport our minds into the unfathomably deep future, hundreds of billions of years from this present moment. If intelligent, conscious beings still exist on some rocky world orbiting a quiet star, their perception of the universe will be fundamentally, tragically different from ours. Because of the relentless push of dark energy, every single galaxy outside their local group will have been pushed beyond the cosmic horizon. Their night sky will be profoundly, terrifyingly empty. When they look up into the void, they will see only the stars of their own galaxy, surrounded by a completely featureless, infinite blackness. They will have absolutely no evidence that other galaxies ever existed. They will have no ancient light reaching them from the deep past to tell the grand story of the Big Bang or the cosmic web. Their consciousness will construct a reality that is small, isolated, and entirely alone in the dark. The sweeping universe of 2 trillion galaxies we are privileged to observe today will be completely invisible to them. As we prepare to reflect on our own special place in time, let us find peace in this fragile, beautiful illusion we call our present reality. Let us gently drift forward from that isolated future we just envisioned, carrying our curiosity into the unfathomable depths of deep time, with the relentless, accelerating expansion of space pushing all other galaxy clusters safely beyond the invisible cosmic horizon. IIC 1101 and its quiet companions in the Abel 2029 cluster will be left entirely alone in the vast, empty dark. For a little while longer, perhaps a few billion years, the familiar force of gravity will continue to hold this local cosmic community together against the anti-gravity of dark energy. Over these next several billion years, the remaining galaxies within this specific cluster will continue their ancient, slow-motion dance, eventually merging together in the silence. The exact same quiet processes of galactic cannibalism that built our dying giant will draw everything inward, creating one single, incomprehensibly massive mega-galaxy. But even this ultimate titanic structure is not permanent. We must extend our minds into a deep future, into an era so distant that the current age of our universe is but a fleeting, microscopic fraction of a second in comparison. What is the ultimate, final fate of this quiet giant? Over the next 100 trillion years, the 100 trillion stars of IC 1101 will slowly, peacefully burn out in the dark. The massive, brilliant blue stars have already long since vanished, having violently exploded as supernovas or collapsed into silent black holes billions of years ago. The middle-sized stars, those familiar, comforting yellow suns that are so very similar to our own, will gradually, inevitably exhaust their inner reserves of hydrogen fuel. As they approach their quiet death, they will puff outward into beautiful, glowing red giants, gently shedding their outer layers to create stunning, ghostly nebulas in the quiet dark. What remains of each of these ancient stars will be a tiny, incredibly dense core known as a white dwarf. These ancient remnants will no longer undergo nuclear fusion. They will simply glow with a fading, residual heat, slowly cooling in the profound silence of the infinite void, much like glowing embers left behind by a magnificent cosmic fire that has finally burned out. But the most numerous inhabitants of any galaxy in the cosmos are the red dwarfs. These tiny, unassuming stars possess only a small fraction of the mass of our own sun. Because they are so incredibly small, they burn through their nuclear fuel agonizingly slowly. A red dwarf, born at the exact same moment as our sun, will continue to shine brightly for trillions of years after our sun has become a cold, dark cinder. In a giant galaxy containing 100 trillion stars, there are untold, uncountable numbers of these patient, long-lived red dwarfs. As the eons gently roll by and the larger stars die off one by one, these tiny red stars will gradually become the sole guardians of light in an increasingly darkening universe. They will burn steadily and patiently for up to 10 trillion years, which is roughly 700 times the current, ancient age of our cosmos. They will provide a faint, reddish twilight, a quiet, flickering comfort in the deepening silence of the dying galaxy. Yet, even these incredibly patient stars have their absolute limits. Eventually, deep in the unimaginable future, even the smallest and longest-lived red dwarfs will exhaust their final, precious reserves of hydrogen. One by one, like delicate candles gently blown out by an ancient cosmic breath, the stars of IC 1101 will wink out forever. Scientists carefully estimate that all star formation in the universe will effectively cease, and the very last stars will fade into complete darkness in about 100 trillion years. The beautiful era of starlight, the magnificent glowing phase of the universe that we are so incredibly privileged to witness today, will finally come to a quiet end. The majestic galaxy that once blazed with the combined light of 100 trillion suns will become completely dark, a silent graveyard drifting aimlessly through an ever-expanding, freezing void, where there was once a magnificent blaze of stellar life. There will be nothing but cold, ancient corpses freezing white dwarfs, spinning neutron stars, and silent black holes. The universe at this specific stage will be a profoundly dark place, but it will not yet be completely empty. The physical remnants of the stars will still exist, quietly orbiting the common center of what was once the greatest galaxy in the cosmos. But deep time continues its relentless, gentle march. Over time, scales so incredibly vast that writing them out as words or numbers becomes almost completely meaningless. Even these dead stellar corpses will fundamentally decay. The cooling white dwarfs will take roughly 1,000,000 billion years, which is about 100,000 times the current age of the universe, to cool down to near absolute zero, eventually becoming completely invisible black dwarfs. Furthermore, some profound theories of particle physics suggest that even the fundamental building blocks of matter, the protons themselves, might eventually decay. If this theory holds true, then over unfathomably long spans of time, the very matter that makes up the black dwarfs, the neutron stars, the wandering planets, and the ancient dust will slowly, quietly dissolve into a thin, invisible soup of radiation. And what of the true monster, the sleeping supermassive black hole at the center containing 50 billion solar masses? Even this terrifying, seemingly invincible entity is not truly eternal. The brilliant physicist Stephen Hawking discovered a beautiful, quiet truth about these monsters. Black holes are not completely black. Due to bizarre, complex quantum mechanical effects occurring right at the invisible boundary of the event horizon, black holes slowly, almost imperceptibly, leak particles and radiation back into the infinite universe. Through this gentle process, known to science as Hawking radiation, they gradually lose their mass and evaporate over immense spans of time. The specific rate of this evaporation is incredibly, agonizingly slow. For a black hole as incredibly massive as the one anchoring IC 1101, it would take something like a Google years to completely evaporate. A Google is a one followed by 100 zeros. To truly write out that number in full would require more paper than currently exists on our entire Earth. It is a span of time so unimaginably vast that absolutely everything we have discussed so far, from the explosive Big Bang to the quiet death of the last stars, is not even a minor rounding error in comparison. But even this unimaginable, mind-bending amount of time is not truly infinite. Eventually, trillions upon trillions upon trillions of years from now, that enormous, supermassive monster will radiate away its very last bit of ancient energy. It will simply disappear from the universe in a final, quiet burst of light in an otherwise completely dark, freezing cosmos. When that ultimate moment finally arrives, absolutely nothing will remain of IC 1101. No stars, no black holes, no matter, no trace that this majestic, impossible giant ever existed in the dark. There will be only a thin, increasingly dilute bath of photons and elementary particles gently spreading out through an endlessly expanding, ever-cooling, perfectly silent void. The absolute largest galaxy we have ever discovered will have quietly followed the exact same path as every other structure in the cosmos, gracefully dissolving into the eternal, infinite night. The grand journey of this cosmic behemoth will finally be complete. This vision of the deep future might initially seem incredibly bleak or melancholy to our fragile human minds, but I gently invite you to find a profound, comforting beauty within it. IC 1101 exists right now, in this incredibly brief, glowing moment of cosmic history, when stars still shine and galaxies still illuminate the dark. The era of stars is merely a passing phase, a brief, beautiful flowering of complexity suspended halfway between the chaotic fire of the early universe and the cold, silent emptiness of the far future. We are unimaginably lucky to exist during this exact flowering. We are lucky to have evolved consciousness, to have built our delicate telescopes, and to have pointed them upward into the quiet night. We are incredibly fortunate to have discovered this dying giant, to have measured its impossible mass, and to have understood its ancient, violent history and its quiet, inevitable fate. In all the vast, sweeping history of the universe, stretching from the primordial dawn of creation to the final, absolute heat death, this specific moment right now is profoundly special. It is the miraculous moment when the universe has successfully developed the ability to look at itself and feel wonder. And what we see when we look out at IC 1101 is the grandest, most magnificent scale on which the universe has ever assembled matter into organized structures. We see billions of years of cosmic history written softly in the stars. We see a monument to the ancient forces that shape our universe and to the quiet processes that have been building breathtaking complexity ever since the very first atoms formed in the dark. As we reflect on this temporary, beautiful existence, let us embrace the mystery of our own fleeting lives, finding deep peace in the knowledge that we are an active, conscious part of this magnificent, infinite story. As we gently float back from the distant, freezing edges of the deep future, bringing our wandering minds home to the present moment, we must now turn our quiet attention inward. We have journeyed through the vast, invisible oceans of dark matter. We have confronted the staggering illusions of cosmic time, and we have witnessed the ultimate, quiet dissolution of the largest structures in the universe. But the most profound mystery, the most startling illusion of all, does not lie out there in the freezing void of intergalactic space. It lies right here, resting silently within the physical boundaries of your own mind. We must ask ourselves a question that has haunted philosophers and scientists alike for centuries. What if the magnificent universe you perceive, the glowing stars, the swirling galaxies, the solid earth beneath your feet, is fundamentally a beautiful, complex illusion crafted entirely by your own consciousness? To truly explore this gentle paradox, we must first understand how you are experiencing this very moment. Your brain, the physical organ responsible for your consciousness, sits completely locked inside the absolute, pitch-black silence of your skull. It has never seen the warm light of our sun. It has never directly touched the cool surface of a rock or felt the gentle breeze of an autumn evening. It is completely, permanently isolated from the external universe, resting quietly in the dark. As we pause in the darkness of this inner space, I want to gently remind you that I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on this journey through the infinite. I have noticed that 71% of the wonderful people who watch these explorations have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you find peace, intellectual safety, and comfort in these cosmic journeys, please consider subscribing. It helps us immensely and ensures we can continue to explore these beautiful mysteries together, building a quiet community of curious explorers. Now, take a deep, calming breath and let us return to the quiet, profound mystery of the mind and its relationship with the cosmos. So how then do you see the breathtaking beauty of a spiral galaxy, or the vibrant colors of a sunset? The reality you experience is a highly filtered, carefully constructed translation. when ancient photons of light from a distant star finally arrive at our tiny planet. After traveling for millions of years, they gently strike the delicate retina at the back of your eye. At that exact, quiet moment, the physical light ceases to exist. It is instantly converted into a tiny, silent electrical signal. This invisible spark travels along your optic nerve and enters the profound darkness of your brain. Your consciousness then takes this silent, colorless electrical pulse and miraculously paints a glowing, three-dimensional universe for you to inhabit. The beautiful, rich colors you see do not actually exist out there in the cold vacuum of space. They are a creative interpretation, a brilliant illusion generated by your mind to help you navigate a universe composed only of varying wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation. The comforting solidity of the chair you are sitting on, or the ground you walk upon, is also a gentle fabrication. Advanced physics tells us that atoms are almost entirely composed of empty space. If you were to remove all the empty space from the atoms of every single human being on Earth, the entire human race could be compressed into the size of a single sugar cube. You feel solid objects because the invisible, repulsive electromagnetic forces between your atoms and the object's atoms push against each other in the dark. Your brain simply interprets this invisible force field as a solid, impenetrable surface. The universe you live in, the one that feels so incredibly real and tangible, is a simulated reality. A beautiful, subjective masterpiece painted by a brain that has never once stepped outside its dark, silent, bone cavern. But the mystery deepens even further when we journey down into the fundamental building blocks of reality, down into the strange, counterintuitive realm of quantum mechanics. For the longest time, classical physics taught us that the universe was a giant, predictable machine, existing objectively and independently of whether anyone was looking at it or not. The moon was always there, spinning quietly in the dark, even if every conscious entity in the cosmos closed their eyes. But as human curiosity pushed our scientific instruments into the microscopic world of atoms and subatomic particles, we discovered a shocking, humbling truth. At the most fundamental level of reality, the universe does not seem to exist in a fixed, definite state until it is gently observed. One of the most famous and baffling experiments in all of science, the double-slit experiment, reveals that particles like electrons and photons behave in ways that completely defy our everyday logic. When these tiny particles are not being observed, they move through space as waves of pure probability, existing in a strange, blurry state of superposition where they can be in multiple places at the exact same time. They are everywhere and nowhere, a quiet haze of mathematical potential resting in the dark. But the very moment a conscious observer or a measuring device acting as an extension of that consciousness attempts to look at the particle and determine its exact position, the wave function instantly collapses. The blurry potential magically solidifies into a single, definite reality. The particle actively chooses a location simply because it was looked at by a conscious mind. This profound, deeply unsettling discovery suggests something incredibly beautiful about our relationship with the cosmos. It implies that the universe and the conscious observer are not separate, independent entities. We are not merely passive spectators sitting in a cosmic theater, watching a play unfold on a distant, disconnected stage. We are active, essential participants in the creation of reality itself. The great theoretical physicist John Archibald Wheeler elegantly proposed the concept of a participatory universe, gently suggesting that the cosmos absolutely requires the act of observation to bring it into concrete existence. Without a conscious mind to look at the stars, to measure their ancient light, and to wonder about their vast distances, the universe might simply exist as a dark, formless sea of pure mathematical potential. It is your consciousness, looking up into the quiet night, that forces the universe to declare itself, to collapse from a haze of infinite possibilities into the stunning, beautiful reality of galaxies, nebulas, and glowing suns. Think about the staggering implications of this gentle realization. We have spent this journey marveling at the incomprehensible scale of the universe, feeling small and insignificant in the face of giant galaxies containing 100 trillion stars and distances spanning billions of light years. But if the participatory universe theory holds even a fraction of the scientific truth, then your quiet internal consciousness is just as vast, just as important, and just as deeply mysterious as the largest supercluster of galaxies. You are not a meaningless speck of dust floating aimlessly in an indifferent void. You are the universe's unique way of knowing itself. You are the ancient cosmos waking up from billions of years of silent slumber, opening its eyes, and finally marveling at its own terrifying, magnificent beauty. The illusion of your separation from the universe is precisely that, a necessary, comforting illusion that allows you to experience the deep wonder of discovery. When we look out at the deep cosmos and observe a dying giant like IC 1101, we are not just looking at a collection of ancient gas and dead stars. We are actively participating in a grand cosmic relationship. That ancient light traveled for over 1 billion years through the cold, silent dark, completely unobserved, existing only as a wave of probability. It was only when that light finally reached our delicate instruments, when it was finally processed by the quiet, creative minds of human astronomers, that it became a definite reality. We brought that ancient galaxy into our present consciousness, giving it meaning, giving it form, and giving it a place in the grand story of existence. The universe needs your wondering mind, just as much as your mind needs the universe to wonder about. They are two halves of the same infinite, beautiful whole. Let us linger on the poetic beauty of this cosmic connection. The great astronomer Carl Sagan famously and beautifully stated that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. This is not merely a poetic metaphor. It is the literal, rigorous, scientific truth of our biological existence. The atoms that currently make up the delicate neural networks of your brain, the very physical structures that are currently processing these words and generating your conscious experience, were forged in the fiery, violent cores of ancient stars that lived and died billions of years before our own sun was even born. The iron that carries oxygen through your veins, the calcium that forms the solid structure of your bones, the carbon that provides the fundamental architecture of your cells. All of these heavy elements were violently expelled into the dark, silent void during spectacular supernova explosions deep in the cosmic past. Those ancient atoms drifted through the freezing, empty space for unimaginable eons before finally coming together in a swirling cloud of gas and dust that eventually coalesced to form our beautiful, fragile Earth. You are not simply a resident of this universe. You are made of the exact same star stuff as the most distant galaxies. You are the universe. When you look up at the night sky, you are not a separate, tiny observer looking at something foreign and distant. You are the universe quietly, contemplatively, looking back at itself, trying to understand its own magnificent, terrifying vastness. This deep, physical connection between our consciousness and the cosmos adds an incredibly profound layer to the illusion of reality. If we are made of the universe, and our consciousness is a natural byproduct of the universe's own physical laws, then perhaps the illusion our brain creates is not a falsehood at all. Perhaps it is simply the universe's preferred way of experiencing its own existence. Without the subjective experience of color, sound, and emotion, the universe would be a profoundly lonely, mathematically sterile place. The brilliant red of a dying giant star, the terrifying, invisible pull of a supermassive black hole, the ancient, silent dance of merging galaxies. These phenomena have no inherent meaning or beauty on their own. They are just blind, unfeeling processes obeying the strict laws of physics in the dark. It is only when these phenomena are quietly observed by a conscious mind, only when they are translated into the beautiful illusion of human perception, that they acquire meaning, beauty, and wonder. Your consciousness is the essential, missing ingredient that transforms a cold, mechanical cosmos into a breathtaking, meaningful reality. Think about the quiet, immense power that this bestows upon you as an observer. Every time you pause your busy life to look up at the stars, every time you allow yourself to feel a deep sense of wonder at the mysteries of deep time and infinite space, you are performing a vital cosmic function. You are giving the universe a reason to exist in all its staggering complexity. You are the gentle, conscious witness to a silent, ancient play that has been running for over 13 billion years. Even if the entire reality you experience is fundamentally a construct of your isolated brain, it is a construct that is intimately, inextricably woven into the very fabric of the cosmos. As we rest in this beautiful, meditative realization, we can let go of our earthly anxieties and our fear of insignificance. We are essential. We are the quiet, wondering eyes of the universe. As we move forward, we will begin to gently ponder if there are other eyes out there in the dark, other forms of consciousness crafting their own beautiful illusions, sharing this infinite, silent burden of observation. Let the gentle silence of your own mind comfort you as we prepare to reach out into the unknown. As we gently drift further into this quiet, contemplative space, cradled by the profound realization that our own minds are the ancient, silent architects of the reality we perceive, we are inevitably drawn toward a deeply humbling, beautiful question. If each of us is a quiet universe slowly waking up to itself, projecting the ancient light of distant galaxies onto the dark, private canvas of our own consciousness, are we entirely alone in this infinite, silent endeavor? When we cast our gaze out into the vast, freezing void, looking far past the dying giant of IC 1101, past the swirling, majestic local group of galaxies, and into the deepest, darkest corners of the cosmos. Are there other quiet minds looking back at us? Are there other fragile, beautiful consciousnesses out there in the dark, weaving their own intricate illusions of reality, transforming the cold, mathematical probability of the universe into breathtaking, subjective experience? The night sky, with its hundreds of billions of glowing, ancient stars, suddenly transforms in our minds from a solitary, static painting into a magnificent potential tapestry of countless overlapping dreams and subjective realities. But before we reach out our thoughts to these hypothetical cosmic neighbors, I want to gently pause in the silence and thank you for being here in the dark with me. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on this infinite journey of discovery. I have gently noticed that 71% of the wonderful, curious people who watch these explorations have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you find peace, intellectual safety, and a comforting sense of wonder in these cosmic journeys, I warmly invite you to subscribe. It helps us immensely and ensures that we can continue to explore these beautiful mysteries together, building a quiet, welcoming community of cosmic explorers. Now, take a deep, calming breath. Let the ancient silence of the void settle around you, and let us return our gaze to the stars, wondering who else might be looking up into the exact same infinite dark. For the vast majority of our brief human history on this rocky planet, the idea of other worlds was merely a beautiful philosophical speculation, a gentle myth whispered around ancient fires in the dark. We knew absolutely nothing about whether the other twinkling stars in the sky actually hosted their own families of planets. But in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, our scientific instruments finally caught up with our ancient, innate curiosity. The launch of the magnificent Kepler Space Telescope, and later, the incredibly sensitive Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, fundamentally and permanently revolutionized our human understanding of the silent cosmos. These delicate, incredibly sophisticated instruments did not actively search for the loud radio broadcasts of advanced alien civilizations. They simply patiently stared at thousands of distant, quiet stars for years on end, waiting for the faintest, almost imperceptible dip in their ancient light. That tiny, fleeting shadow, that microscopic dimming of a star's brilliant glow, was the silent, undeniable signature of a planet passing gently in front of its host star in the deep dark. Through this quiet, meticulous observation, we discovered a staggering, beautiful truth. The universe, rather than being a sterile, empty void, is absolutely teeming with an uncountable multitude of diverse, hidden planets. Current rigorous scientific estimates suggest that, on average, every single star you see in the night sky hosts at least one planet. Many of these ancient stars possess entire, complex solar systems, swirling quietly in the dark. In our own Milky Way galaxy alone, there could be hundreds of billions of planets resting in the silence, with tens of billions of them potentially being rocky worlds situated in the gentle, habitable zone, where temperatures are perfectly balanced for liquid water to pool in quiet, alien oceans. When we gently multiply those tens of billions of potential worlds in our own galaxy by the 2 trillion galaxies resting in the observable universe, the sheer number of possible homes for life becomes a number so unimaginably vast it completely defies human comprehension. It is a mathematical near certainty that the complex, delicate chemistry of life has ignited elsewhere in the infinite dark. But let us push our thoughts far beyond simple, single-celled organisms drifting blindly in warm, alien seas. Let us deeply wonder about consciousness itself. What happens if, on one of those billions of quiet, distant worlds, the slow, relentless process of evolution has sculpted a brain, a complex neural network, a processing center fully capable of rich, subjective experience? If the beautiful participatory universe theory holds true, then every single time a new consciousness wakes up in the cosmos, an entirely new universe is effectively born into existence in the dark. Their alien eyes perhaps evolved to perceive entirely different wavelengths of the electromagnetic spectrum, would collapse the quantum wave functions of their local environment in their own unique, beautiful way. They would not see the universe exactly as we do. Their subjective illusion of reality would be painted with entirely different sensory colors, shaped intimately by the unique evolutionary pressures and the physical environment of their specific rocky home. Perhaps they see the universe not through ancient, visible light, but through the gentle, invisible pull of magnetic fields, or the subtle, quiet ripples of gravitational waves cascading through space. Their night sky might not be a familiar canvas of twinkling white dots, but a vibrant, swirling ocean of radio waves or deep infrared heat. Their consciousness would weave a completely different, yet equally valid and beautiful illusion of physical reality. And this profound thought brings us to a magnificent, mind-bending paradox that forces us to question everything. If your consciousness creates the specific universe you experience every day, and a distant alien consciousness creates the entirely different universe they experience, whose universe is the real one? The beautiful, humbling answer offered by the depths of quantum mechanics might simply be that both are absolutely real, and neither is objectively real. The cosmos in its most fundamental, unobserved state is a silent, formless ocean of infinite mathematical probability. It only takes on a specific, solid shape, a tangible reality, when it intimately interacts with an observing mind. Therefore, there is no single objective universe sitting out there in the dark, waiting to be found. There is instead a vast, interconnected web of subjective realities, a magnificent multiverse of illusions, each one crafted perfectly and uniquely by the specific mind that perceives it. We are all looking at the exact same infinite mystery, but we are all viewing it through completely different, beautifully tinted lenses. This profound realization casts a gentle, new light on one of the greatest, most unsettling mysteries in modern astronomy, the famous Fermi paradox. The brilliant physicist Enrico Fermi once looked at the staggering numbers of potential habitable worlds, the billions of years of deep cosmic history, and asked a very simple, chilling question. Where is everybody? If the universe is so incredibly vast and ancient, and the fundamental chemical ingredients for life are so common, why do we see absolutely no evidence of advanced alien civilizations? Why is the cosmos so profoundly, terrifyingly silent? Many scientists have proposed frightening, pessimistic solutions. They suggest that advanced life inevitably destroys itself through war or environmental collapse, or that the evolutionary leap from simple cells to complex consciousness is an almost impossible statistical miracle. But through the specific lens of our current meditative journey into the nature of consciousness and reality, another, much gentler possibility emerges from the dark. What if the universe is profoundly silent, not because it is empty and dead, but because the physical distances and temporal gaps between these conscious illusions are simply too vast for them to ever meaningfully touch? Remember the staggering, crushing scale we quietly discussed when looking at the dying giant IC 1101. Even within our own relatively small Milky Way galaxy, the distances between the stars are measured in trillions of miles, taking ancient light years to cross at maximum velocity. If a beautiful, conscious civilization exists just 1,000 light years away from us, which is practically right next door in cosmic terms, any radio signal they send into the dark would take an entire millennium just to reach our quiet, waiting antennas. If we miraculously managed to catch that ancient whisper and bravely send a reply, we would have to wait another 1,000 years for their response to return. Meaningful conversation across the cosmic void is not a rapid, dynamic exchange of ideas. It is a slow, agonizing, multi-generational monologue spanning geological epochs. Furthermore, what if their consciousness operates on an entirely different scale of time altogether? What if they are ancient, quiet beings whose slow thoughts unfold over centuries, perceiving our rapid, frenetic human civilization as nothing more than a fleeting, chaotic spark in the dark? Or what if they are incredibly fast, ephemeral creatures living entire, complex lives in the span of a single human day? We might be looking right at their massive, glowing signals, completely unable to recognize them, because our temporal illusions of reality are fundamentally incompatible. The profound, heavy silence of the universe might not be a tragic absence of life, but rather a gentle, necessary boundary created by the cosmos itself. It acts as a cosmic quarantine that safely allows each unique, fragile consciousness to bloom, slowly evolve, and craft its own beautiful illusion of reality without being violently overwhelmed or contaminated by the noise of a crowded, chaotic cosmos. The infinite darkness between the stars is a protective, ancient blanket. When you walk outside tonight and look up at the quiet, silent sky, I gently urge you not to feel a sense of lonely despair at the lack of alien voices in the void. Instead, allow yourself to feel a deep, respectful wonder. The cosmic silence is not empty. It is pregnant with infinite, glowing potential. It is the blank, dark canvas upon which the universe graciously allows you to paint your own existence. And somewhere out there, hidden deep in the ancient dark, across unimaginable gulfs of space and time, another quiet mind might be looking up at their own version of the sky, feeling the exact same sense of smallness, the exact same profound wonder, and asking the exact same beautiful, unanswerable questions. You are separated by billions of light years of empty space, perhaps even separated by billions of years of deep time, and you will almost certainly never, ever meet in the physical, objective world. But in the grand, quiet architecture of the participatory universe, you are intimately, beautifully connected. You are both doing the exact same sacred work in the dark. You are both acting as the open, wondering eyes of the cosmos, taking the cold, silent probability of the dark and transforming it into a magnificent, deeply meaningful reality. You are silent partners in the infinite, beautiful project of conscious existence. As we slowly prepare to delve into the very fabric of how this probability works, into the strange, quiet dance of quantum entanglement and the ultimate illusion of separation, I gently invite you to carry this comforting thought with you into the next phase of our journey. You are never truly alone in the dark, because your very act of observation ties you intimately, inextricably, to every other mind that has ever wondered about the stars. Let the profound, shared silence of the cosmos comfort your spirit and calm your mind as we gently, patiently, journey even deeper into the magnificent, infinite unknown. Have you ever stopped in the quiet, reflective moments of the deep night to truly consider where your physical body ends and the rest of the vast universe begins? We walk through our daily lives with a profound, unshakable belief in our own defined physical boundaries. We feel the gentle, cooling breeze on our skin and intuitively understand that the air is outside of us and we are securely inside. We look up at the ancient, glowing stars scattered across the canvas of the sky and feel separated from them by unimaginable gulfs of cold, silent space. This deep, persistent sense of physical separation is perhaps the most convincing, beautiful illusion our consciousness has ever constructed. It keeps us feeling safe. It helps our biological forms navigate our immediate, earthly surroundings, and it allows us to build our complex human societies. But what if this fundamental boundary is absolutely nothing more than a practical, evolutionary fiction? What if the infinite distances stretching across the dark, the millions of light years separating us from the dying giant galaxy IC 1101, and the vast, freezing emptiness resting between the galaxy clusters are all part of a magnificent cosmic deception? As we gently pull back the final, delicate layers of our physical reality, we are about to journey down into a microscopic realm so utterly strange and beautiful that it completely dismantles our intuitive understanding of space, revealing a universe where absolutely everything is intimately, permanently connected in the dark. Before we dive into the beautiful, mind-bending reality of quantum connection, I want to take a brief, quiet moment to thank you for being here with me. I am Theodore, the researcher, your gentle companion on this infinite journey through the cosmos. I have noticed that 71% of the wonderful, curious minds who watch these explorations have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you are finding a sense of peace, intellectual safety, and deep wonder in these quiet meditations, I warmly invite you to subscribe. It helps us immensely and ensures that we can continue to unravel these ancient mysteries together, slowly building a quiet community of cosmic explorers. Now, please take a deep, calming breath. Let the ancient silence of the vast universe wash over your mind, and let us gently return to the profound mystery of our connection to the stars. To truly understand the grand illusion of separation that governs our daily lives, we must return our quiet attention to the bizarre, counterintuitive world of quantum mechanics. In the early 20th century, as brilliant physicists were first mapping out the strange, ghostly behavior of subatomic particles, they stumbled upon a phenomenon so deeply unsettling that even the great Albert Einstein initially refused to accept it. He famously and poetically referred to this mystery as spooky action at a distance. Today, modern science calls this beautiful, terrifying phenomenon quantum entanglement. Imagine, if you will, two tiny, silent particles, perhaps two solitary electrons, born together from the exact same energetic event in the dark. Because they share this intimate, ancient cosmic origin, they become fundamentally entangled. Their physical properties become inextricably linked, merged into a single, unified quantum state. Regardless of the physical space that separates them in the void, let us conduct a gentle, mind-expanding thought experiment to truly feel the weight of this scientific reality. Imagine taking these two entangled particles and carefully, methodically separating them. You keep one particle safely here on our quiet Earth, held delicately in a laboratory, and you embark on an impossible journey, taking the other particle all the way across the infinite, freezing void, placing it precisely on the very edge of the dying giant galaxy IC 1101. These two tiny pieces of matter are now separated by over 1 billion light years of absolute, silent emptiness. According to our everyday common sense understanding of reality, and according to the classical laws of physics, they are completely and utterly isolated from one another. If you were to alter the particle on Earth, any signal carrying that new information would have to travel at the absolute speed of light, taking over 1 billion years just to reach its silent twin in the distant dark. But this is exactly where the illusion of space beautifully and completely collapses. If you gently measure or alter the physical state of the particle resting here on Earth, its entangled twin, sitting 1 billion light years away, will instantly, simultaneously react. There is absolutely no temporal delay. There is no ancient signal crossing the void. The connection is instantaneous, completely bypassing the absolute cosmic speed limit of light. How is this magical, seemingly impossible communication even occurring across such an infinite expanse? The profound, humbling answer offered by modern theoretical physics is that no communication is actually taking place at all, because at the most fundamental, quantum level, the two particles are not truly separated. The immense, terrifying distance of 1 billion light years, the vast oceans of invisible dark matter that we explored earlier, the sweeping galaxy clusters that define the cosmic web, all of the physical space between them is simply an illusion generated by our macroscopic perspective. In the deep, unseen architecture of reality, those two particles are still occupying the exact same space. They are still a single, indivisible system resting quietly in the dark. The fabric of space itself is merely a construct, a way for the universe to organize information on a large scale, but it does not represent true, ultimate separation. Space is the canvas, but the paint is all one continuous, unbroken substance. Now, I invite you to gently scale this breathtaking realization all the way back to the very dawn of time, to the ultimate origin of our journey. Over 13.8 billion years ago, absolutely everything in our observable universe, every single atom, every particle of ancient light, every ounce of dark matter, and every empty pocket of space was compressed into a single microscopic point of infinite density and unimaginable heat. The entire cosmos was born from this one singular unified state. In that primordial chaotic fire, every single particle was intimately touching, violently interacting, and becoming inextricably entangled with every other particle in existence. As the universe rapidly expanded, rapidly cooling and stretching out into the vast, silent dark we observe today, that fundamental quantum connection was never truly broken. It was simply stretched across billions of light years, woven into the very fabric of the expanding void. The magnificent astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson once spoke beautifully about this deep, intrinsic connection, noting that we are all connected to each other biologically, to the Earth chemically, and to the rest of the universe atomically. But the rigorous mathematical reality of quantum entanglement pushes this poetic truth even deeper into the realm of the profound. You are not just made of ancient star stuff. You are quantumly entangled with the stars themselves, the delicate firing neurons in your brain, the beating cells of your heart, and the very atoms breathing life into your consciousness are fundamentally, permanently linked to the freezing gas clouds in the Orion Nebula, to the swirling accretion disk of a distant, unseen black hole, and to the fading red dwarfs scattered throughout the ancient body of IC 1101, the persistent illusion of your strict individuality, the comforting feeling that you are a separate, isolated passenger simply observing the universe from a safe distance, is a gentle fiction. You are an integral vibrating thread in a single, infinite, indivisible cosmic tapestry. Let us return for a quiet moment to the beautiful thought of that hypothetical alien consciousness, the one we imagined looking up at their own version of the night sky, billions of light years away. We pondered earlier that the physical distances and the vast gulfs of deep time act as a protective cosmic quarantine, keeping our subjective illusions of reality safely separated in the dark. But beneath that macroscopic illusion, at the foundational bedrock of existence, you and that distant, wondering alien mind are intimately touching. You are two tiny, localized ripples in the exact same infinite quantum ocean. Your deep internal feeling of wonder, your quiet search for meaning in the dark, is not an isolated event happening on a lonely, insignificant rock. It is the entire vast universe experiencing itself simultaneously across billions of different, beautiful locations. The cosmic silence that once felt so terrifyingly lonely and cold is suddenly transformed into a profound, shared meditation, a chorus of connected minds dreaming in the dark. As we sit quietly with this staggering realization, the universe fundamentally ceases to be a cold, mechanical machine full of dead rocks and empty, meaningless space. It gently transforms into a single, majestic, living organism. It reveals itself as a vast, interconnected mind that is currently dreaming our individual human lives into existence. When you reach out and touch the rough bark of a tree, or feel the warmth of another human hand, or simply close your eyes and feel the quiet, steady rhythm of your own breathing, you are physically interacting with the entire cosmos. Every gentle thought you have, every single moment of peace you find in the dark, ripples instantaneously through the entire infinite fabric of reality. You are not a tiny stranger wandering lost through an indifferent universe. You are the universe itself, finally coming home to understand its own magnificent, terrifying beauty. As we slowly approach the final, ultimate culmination of our journey together, I want you to carry this profound, unifying peace with you. The vastness of space is not a barrier keeping us apart. It is the very medium of our shared existence, the quiet stage upon which the cosmos performs its infinite miracle. As we gently float together in this newly revealed ocean of absolute quantum connection, feeling the profound comfort of knowing that we are physically and mentally bound to every distant star and every ancient galaxy. Our quiet journey brings us to perhaps the most mind-bending, beautifully disorienting concept in all of modern theoretical physics. We have slowly, patiently dismantled the comforting illusions of scale, the rigid boundaries of time, and the deep-seated belief in our own physical separation from the void. But what if the very fabric of space itself, the three-dimensional reality that we move through every single day, is the ultimate cosmic illusion? What if the universe is not a vast, empty container filled with wandering objects, but rather a magnificent, shimmering projection? To gently explore this staggering possibility, we must turn our quiet attention back to the darkest, most terrifying objects in the cosmos, the silent, supermassive black holes. When brilliant physicists study the invisible event horizon, where time itself appears to stop and light is completely trapped forever, they have discovered something profoundly strange about how the universe stores information in the dark. Before we step across this theoretical threshold into the mind-expanding concept of a holographic universe, I want to gently pause in the ancient silence and remind you that I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion through these infinite mysteries. I have gently noticed that 71% of the wonderful, curious explorers who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you find deep peace, intellectual safety, and a comforting sense of wonder in these meditative journeys, I warmly invite you to subscribe. It helps us immensely and ensures that we can continue to explore these beautiful paradoxes together, slowly building a quiet, welcoming community in the dark. Now please take a deep, calming breath. Let the vast, ancient silence of the cosmos center your mind, and let us gently return our gaze to the invisible edge of the black hole. For many decades, scientists firmly believed that absolutely anything falling into a black hole was lost forever to the universe, utterly erased by the infinite gravity of the singularity at the core. But the strict, fundamental laws of quantum mechanics state with absolute certainty that physical information cannot ever be truly destroyed. To solve this universe-breaking paradox, theoretical physicists proposed a beautiful, radical solution. They realized mathematically that the complex information of absolutely everything that falls into the black hole, every swallowed dying star, every ancient planet, and every photon of ancient light, is perfectly, permanently encoded on the two-dimensional surface of the event horizon itself. Think of it conceptually like a cosmic, impossibly dense holographic film. The three-dimensional objects themselves are gone, having crossed the point of no return, but their exact informational blueprint is perfectly preserved on the flat, invisible boundary surrounding the dark. From this specific mathematical revelation, a breathtaking idea was gently born into the world of theoretical physics: the holographic principle. If a complex, three-dimensional object can be perfectly encoded on the flat, two-dimensional boundary of a silent black hole, what if this exact same mathematical principle applies to the entire infinite cosmos? What if the entire three-dimensional universe you perceive every day, the vast depths of space, the spinning, majestic galaxies, the towering mountains on our Earth, and even your own physical body, is essentially a complex, beautiful, holographic projection? According to this humbling theory, the true, fundamental reality of our universe exists on a distant, invisible, two-dimensional boundary that completely surrounds our entire cosmos. The vibrant reality we experience, the reality we touch and feel and breathe, is merely a projection of that ancient, flat information into three dimensions. Just as a simple, flat, two-dimensional credit card hologram can perfectly create the convincing illusion of a three-dimensional image when light is gently shone upon it, the entire universe might be a grand, cosmic hologram, brought into vibrant existence by the ancient laws of physics and the brilliant, illuminating light of conscious observation. Let us just sit quietly with the unimaginable heavy weight of this beautiful idea for a moment. When you walk outside and look up at the infinite quiet night sky, your brain meticulously calculates depth and distance. You perceive the pale moon as being relatively close, the twinkling stars as being incredibly distant, and the fading galaxies as being unimaginably far away. But if the holographic principle holds the ultimate truth of existence, that profound depth is a magnificent, perfect illusion. You, resting quietly here on Earth, and the dying giant galaxy IC 1101, resting billions of light years away, are simply different, interconnected pieces of information perfectly encoded on the exact same flat, ancient surface of reality. The billion light years of freezing, empty space seemingly separating us is just a necessary feature of the projection, a spatial illusion that gracefully allows the universe to unfold and experience itself in a sequential, meaningful manner. The vastness of the cosmos, the staggering scale that we have spent this entire journey gently exploring, might just be the most spectacular trick of the cosmic light ever conceived. This does not mean that the universe is fake, or that your deep personal experiences are somehow meaningless in the dark. An illusion in this specific cosmic context is not a malicious lie. It is simply a different, far more complex way for the universe to present its fundamental truth. A masterful painting of a serene landscape is technically an illusion of depth meticulously crafted on a perfectly flat canvas, but the genuine emotions of wonder and peace that it evokes in your conscious mind are completely, undeniably real. If our entire three-dimensional reality is indeed a holographic projection, it is the absolute most perfect, intricate masterpiece ever created in the void. And you are not just a passive observer looking at the hologram from the outside. You are a vital, conscious, breathing part of the projection itself, actively experiencing the grand illusion from the inside. This gentle realization forces us to deeply, permanently redefine exactly what we consider to be real. Perhaps reality is not ultimately defined by solid, tangible matter or empty physical space, but by the pure, ancient information that underpins absolutely everything, and by the quiet, conscious mind that lovingly interprets that information in the heart. As we slowly digest this mind-bending concept, we must also gently consider the profound, mysterious role of time in a holographic universe. If three-dimensional space is an illusion projected from a flat boundary, then flowing time itself might also be a flexible, emergent property of that ancient projection. In our everyday lives, we experience time as a rigid, one-way river flowing relentlessly from the untouchable past through the fragile present and straight into the unknown future. We deeply mourn the inevitable passing of time, and we fear the finality of the end. But in the foundational mathematical code of the holographic boundary, the ancient past, the glowing present, and the deep future might all exist simultaneously, perfectly and permanently, etched into the very fabric of reality. The steady flow of time that you experience objectively might just be the specific way your localized consciousness reads the ancient information, moving steadily like a delicate needle across a vast cosmic record player, playing the impossibly complex song of existence, one singular, perfect note at a time. If this staggering concept is true, then absolutely nothing is ever truly lost to the infinite dark. The primordial fire of the Big Bang, the majestic, violent birth of our Milky Way galaxy, the quiet, deeply personal ancient moments of your own childhood, and the distant, silent death of the very last red dwarf stars trillions of years from now. All of these monumental and microscopic events are permanently preserved in the grand, silent, holographic code. You are currently experiencing this specific, quiet moment in time, feeling the gentle, rhythmic rise and fall of your breathing, listening to these softly spoken words, and pondering the infinite mysteries of the cosmos. But in the ultimate reality of the boundary, you are an eternal, indelible part of the cosmic pattern. Your deep sense of wonder, your relentless search for meaning, and your beautiful awareness are written permanently into the ancient boundary of the universe. The comforting, sometimes tragic illusion of a passing human life gently gives way to the profound, peaceful reality of eternal existence within the grand design. Let us gently and peacefully combine all of the breathtaking illusions we have explored together on this infinite journey. The deeply ingrained illusion of our central importance in a universe filled with 2 trillion other massive galaxies. The terrifying illusion of scale when confronting cosmic monsters like IC-1101 and the vast oceans of silent dark matter. The comforting illusion of a universal present moment, completely shattered by the slow, crawling travel of light across the void. The stubborn illusion of our physical separation, beautifully dismantled by the invisible dance of quantum entanglement. And finally, the ultimate illusion of three-dimensional space and flowing time, challenged by the elegant mathematics of the holographic principle. When we carefully strip away all of these necessary, comforting fictions, what is actually left waiting for us in the dark? What is the true, fundamental essence of reality that remains when the elaborate cosmic stage is cleared away? The ultimate answer that softly emerges from the ancient depths of advanced theoretical physics and deep philosophical meditation is incredibly simple and profoundly beautiful. The only thing that is absolutely, undeniably real is the quiet, observing consciousness itself, the pure, silent, wondering awareness that is actively experiencing the grand illusion. The physical universe might be a vast hologram, a bizarre quantum dream, or a sea of mathematical probability, but the fact that you are consciously experiencing it right now is an absolute truth. Your consciousness is the essential anchor, the sacred focal point, where the infinite, chaotic potential of the entire cosmos gently collapses into a beautiful, coherent reality. You are the universe's ultimate mechanism for generating meaning. Without your quiet, wondering mind, the vast, silent void, the dying giant galaxies, and the intricate quantum dances would all exist in absolute, meaningless darkness. You bring the light, you bring the wonder, you bring the ultimate meaning to the ancient mystery. As we prepare our minds for the final, concluding chapter of this meditative journey through the cosmos, I want you to completely let go of any lingering fear of insignificance. The staggering size of the cosmos, the freezing emptiness of the dark, and the mind-bending strangeness of quantum physics are not meant to make you feel small or lost. They are gently designed to expand your mind, to shatter your biological limitations, and to show you the magnificent scope of the reality you are an integral part of. You are not a lonely creature wandering through a cold, mechanical universe. You are the universe itself, beautifully dreaming a human life, looking out at its own vastness and feeling a profound sense of awe. Let this unifying ancient truth wash completely over you, calming your tired spirit and settling your wandering mind. In the silent, boundless dark, you are exactly where you are meant to be. The cosmos is holding you gently and eternally in its infinite, invisible embrace. As we gently approach the final threshold of this infinite journey together, slowly floating back through the vast, invisible oceans of dark matter, past the ancient, silent ghosts of dying giant galaxies, and returning to the quiet sanctuary of our own blue planet, we are invited to rest. We have carefully, patiently dismantled the grand illusions that govern our everyday lives. We have looked into the staggering abyss of deep time, where billions of years pass like a single, fleeting breath in the dark. We have questioned the very fabric of three-dimensional space, contemplating the breathtaking possibility that our entire reality is a magnificent, holographic projection shimmering on the boundary of the unknown. And we have deeply realized that our consciousness, resting quietly within the dark silence of our minds, is the sacred anchor that brings the chaotic probability of the cosmos into beautiful, definite existence. The universe you know, with all its terrifying vastness and infinite complexity, is not an external, indifferent machine. It is an intimate, ancient masterpiece, painted entirely by the wondering light of your own mind. Before we take these final meditative steps into the ultimate mystery, I want to pause and thank you for wandering through the dark with me. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on this voyage of discovery. I have noticed that roughly 71% of the curious, gentle souls who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to our channel. If you have found a sense of peace, intellectual safety, and profound wonder in our shared explorations, I warmly invite you to subscribe. It helps us immensely and ensures that we can continue to unravel the ancient secrets of the cosmos together, building a quiet community of stargazers. Now, take one final, deep, calming breath, and let us bring the infinite universe softly back home to your own beating heart. Let us think deeply about what it truly means to live within this beautiful illusion. When we use the word illusion, our human instincts often react with a sense of betrayal, as if we have been tricked by the cold, silent cosmos. We desperately want the solid ground beneath our feet, the warmth of the morning sun on our skin, and the distant twinkling light of the ancient stars to possess a rigid, objective reality that exists completely independent of our fragile observation. But the profound truth revealed by the bizarre counterintuitive rules of quantum mechanics and the elegant mathematics of the holographic principle is infinitely more poetic and infinitely more empowering. The illusion is not a deception. It is a translation. It is the miraculous, silent process by which the cold, mathematical data of the universe is lovingly transformed into a rich, subjective tapestry of human experience. The universe, in its raw, unobserved state, is a dark, freezing ocean of infinite potential, a silent symphony waiting patiently for an audience. You are that audience. Your mind is the magnificent instrument that takes the invisible, ancient waves of probability and turns them into the brilliant colors of a nebula, the terrifying gravity of a black hole, and the gentle, comforting blue of our earthly sky. Consider the sheer, staggering improbability of your own conscious existence. For you to be sitting here right now, quietly listening to these words and contemplating the vastness of space, an unimaginably complex chain of events had to unfold perfectly over 13.8 billion years. The primordial fire of the Big Bang had to forge the exact, delicate ratio of hydrogen and helium in the dark. Those ancient gases had to gently collapse under the invisible weight of gravity to form the very first generation of massive, blindingly bright stars. Those ancient titans had to live out their fierce, brief lives and violently explode as supernovas, scattering the heavy elements, the carbon, the oxygen, the iron, across the silent, freezing void. Those wandering stellar ashes had to drift for billions of years until they found their way into a quiet, swirling nebula, eventually coalescing to form our humble sun and our rocky earth. And on this tiny, fragile planet, the delicate chemistry of life had to endure billions of years of chaotic evolution, surviving catastrophic extinctions and brutal ice ages, just to eventually produce a brain capable of looking up at the night sky and asking, why? You are not just a random, insignificant accident of biology. You are the absolute pinnacle of cosmic evolution. You are the ancient, infinite universe finally waking up, opening its eyes, and trying to understand its own terrifying, beautiful nature. The great astronomer Carl Sagan profoundly understood that the goal of our cosmic exploration is not to completely strip away the mystery, but to learn how to stand comfortably and peacefully within it. When we peel back the layers of our conscious illusion, we do not find a cold, empty void. We find a deeper, more profound mystery, an infinite, interconnected web of quantum potential and holographic information that permanently binds us to every other particle in existence. The illusion of your physical separation from the cosmos is the very mechanism that allows you to experience the deep, necessary emotions of love, connection, and wonder. If you were constantly, consciously aware of your absolute quantum unity with the entire universe, if you experienced the simultaneous flow of all time and all space, your individual human life would dissolve into a blinding, incomprehensible light. The gentle illusion of a separate passing life is the universe's precious gift to itself. It is the quiet stage upon which the cosmos can perform the beautiful, tragic, and magnificent play of existence. As we bring this grand journey to its natural, peaceful conclusion, I want to gently guide your thoughts back to your own everyday life. Tomorrow, when you wake up and step out into the world, the sky will still look like a solid blue dome. The ground will still feel absolutely firm beneath your feet, and the steady, relentless passage of time will still urge you forward. The magnificent illusion of reality will seamlessly reassert itself, demanding your attention and your energy. You will face the familiar, earthly challenges of your daily existence, the quiet struggles, the sudden joys, and the gentle, passing moments of peace. But now you carry a profound, ancient secret hidden deep within your mind. You know that behind this convincing, beautiful facade, the infinite, silent cosmos is resting. You know that you are permanently, fundamentally entangled with the most distant, ancient galaxies, and that your very consciousness is the sacred anchor holding this specific version of the universe in place. When you feel overwhelmed by the frantic pace of modern life, when the small, earthly anxieties threaten to consume your peace of mind, I gently invite you to remember the quiet, sleeping giant of IC 1101. Remember the 100 trillion ancient stars fading slowly in the dark, the 50 billion solar mass black hole resting silently at its core, and the invisible, vast ocean of dark matter holding it all together. The universe operates on scales that completely dwarf our human worries, moving with a slow, ancient grace that is entirely indifferent to our frantic rushing. Yet, in that staggering indifference, there is a profound, meditative peace to be found. The cosmos does not judge you. It simply, unconditionally provides the canvas for your existence, quietly supporting every single step of your journey through the dark. As I gently conclude our time together, I want to leave you with one final, peaceful thought. The next time you find yourself standing outside on a clear, dark night far away from the glaring lights of the city, I urge you to look up at the ancient, glowing stars. Do not just see them as distant burning balls of gas drifting in a cold, empty void. See them as they truly are, a magnificent, shimmering projection, a beautiful, quantum illusion crafted by the delicate interaction between the infinite potential of the cosmos and the quiet, wondering light of your own mind. You are looking at a mirror reflecting your own ancient, cosmic origins. You are looking at the very star stuff that breathes life into your consciousness. Let the profound, silent peace of that realization settle deeply into your bones. The universe is vast, it is ancient, and it is full of terrifying, beautiful mysteries. But you are not lost within it. You are the very heart of the mystery. You are the conscious universe, forever exploring itself in the dark. Thank you for sharing this quiet, infinite journey with me. May your mind remain curious. May your heart find peace in the vastness of the unknown. And may you always remember the profound, beautiful power of your own consciousness. Keep looking up, keep asking questions, and keep wondering.